All right, let's talk about something every student knows all too well. That soul-crushing, coffee-fueled, all-nighter-inducing nightmare that is procrastination and the dreaded group project. We've all been there, right? Well, today, we're not just going to complain about it. We're going to get into the science of why it happens, and more importantly, how to actually beat it.
I mean, come on, this quote from a university subreddit, it just hits a little too close to home, doesn't it? You can feel the burnout in those words. It's that sinking feeling of being the only one who cares, and you just know it's going to be a very, very long night.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that if you've ever been in a group project, you are nodding your head so hard it might fall off. That feeling of pulling all the weight while others coast, it is incredibly and unfortunately super common.
So let's really dig into this whole all-nighter thing. Because it's more than just a bad night or a frustrating experience. It's actually a predictable pattern, one that plays out in classrooms all over the world, year after year.
You know the scene, right? It's 11 p.m. The project's due tomorrow. You send like 3 messages to the group chat, and all you're getting back is radio silence. That pit in your stomach isn't just stress. It's a slow, dawning realization that you're about to do the work of 4 people all by yourself.
But here's the really interesting part. This isn't just you having bad luck with group members. These feelings, these situations, they actually have official academic names. Researchers have been studying this stuff for decades.
First up, we've got something one paper actually calls a social disease, which is, wow, it's called social loafing. It's basically the tendency for people to ease off the gas pedal when they know their individual work is just going to get mixed into a big group pot. I mean, why go all out when you can just kind of hide in the crowd, right?
And then you've got its partner in crime, academic procrastination. You know what this is. It's when you deliberately put something off, even though you absolutely know, it's a terrible idea and will only make your life harder. And check this out, it affects over 70% of students. So yeah, if this is you, you're definitely not alone. You're in the majority.
So why do we do this to ourselves? Why do group projects seem to bring out the absolute worst in people? Well, the answer isn't just that people are lazy, it's way more complicated, and it all comes down to the weird math of human motivation.
So it turns out researchers have this awesome little framework for it called expectancy value theory. Think of it like a quick checklist your brain runs through. First it asks expectancy. Hey, if I actually put in the effort, can I even do a good job? Then it asks instrumentality. Okay, if I do a good job, is that actually going to get me the good grade I want? And finally, valence. How much do I even care about getting an A in this class anyway?
And it's pretty simple, right? If the answer to all 3 of those is a big, enthusiastic yes, then you're fired up, you're motivated, you're ready to go. But if even just one of those gets a meh or a no, your motivation just falls off a cliff. If you think the project's doomed from the start, or the professor's grading makes no sense, or you just don't care, well, suddenly Netflix looks a lot more appealing than that textbook.
Okay, and this adds another huge piece to the puzzle, fairness. It's called equity theory. And it's this idea that it's not just about the reward itself, it's about whether the reward feels fair. I mean, look at this. If you're busting your butt on a project and your teammate is kicking back and doing nothing, but you both get the same A, that feels deeply, deeply wrong. Your internal fairness alarm starts blaring and your motivation just tanks.
And on top of all that, there's this other huge factor, your sense of control. One study found that when students feel like they don't have what they need to succeed, maybe they don't have enough time, or the instructions are confusing, or they don't have the right resources, that's when social loafing really ramps up. It makes sense, right? If you feel powerless, you check out.
So, okay, that's the theory. We have these big ideas about motivation and fairness and control, but does any of this actually check out in the real world? Let's take a look at what the data says. This is where it gets really cool. Some researchers at the University of Toronto set up this brilliant little experiment. In a super tough computer science class, they told students, hey, we've got these optional early deadlines. You don't get any extra credit for hitting them, but if you do, our system will give you some extra automated feedback on your work. It was just a simple, low-stakes little nudge.
And the result? I mean, just look at this chart. It's wild. In the regular group, the control group, only 8% of students got started in the first week. But in the group that was offered that early feedback, that number jumped to 30%. That is a huge change in behavior from one tiny little intervention.
But here's the part that really matters. Just starting early, by itself, didn't actually lead to better grades. The students in the control group who started early didn't do any better than the ones who waited. But in the group that got the early feedback, their scores went up significantly. So it's not just about starting early, it's about starting early and getting that structured guidance along the way. That's the magic combination.
And here it is. This slide just pulls it all together perfectly. This study on marketing students is so clear. Look at the top left. When motivation is high, and that sense of control is also high, social loafing is at a low 3.38. Now, look at the bottom right. When motivation is low and control is low, the score more than doubles to 6.94. This is the hard data that proves those theories we were just talking about actually work.
Okay, so we've got the science down. We know why this stuff happens. Now for the most important part, what do you do about it? We're not just here to admire the problem, we're here to build your survival kit.
First things first, let's talk about protecting your own sanity. The key here is to get back that sense of control we were talking about. So talk to people. Your friends are probably going through the same thing. Prepare for the things you can control, like getting your resume together. That preparation itself builds confidence. And look, accept that you're going to have setbacks. It's not failure, it's feedback. Use it to get better. This is all about managing your own headspace first.
All right, now for the tricky part. How do you tame the group itself? This is where we put that science into action. Remember equity theory and the need for fairness? Use peer evaluations. Make everyone accountable. Remember instrumentality, that link between effort and reward? Break the project into smaller, distinct parts so it's super clear who did what. And, as a ton of people on Reddit suggest, create a paper trail. Document everything. And maybe most importantly, talk to your professor early. Don't suffer in silence until it's too late.
So next time you're staring down the barrel of a big project or another group assignment, just remember, you're not going in armed with just willpower and a lot of coffee. You've got the science. You know about the hidden forces of motivation, fairness, and control. So the only real question is, now that you know the rules of the game, how are you going to play it differently next time?